Eli, aka Raw Milk Bra. What's up, dude?
How's it going, bro? How are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm chilling. I'm chilling. Just got back from the gym, hit back.
Yeah,
Everything good.
it's good
Yes,
to have you
sir.
on the show.
Thank you, bro. Thank you for having me. It's my first time ever doing something like this, so I'm a tiny bit nervous, but I'm looking forward to it.
No worries. I'm sure we'll have a ton to talk about. I've been following your content for a little while. When I actually started up, I was inspired because I'm a raw milk enthusiast too. I love the stuff. Um, there you go. I knew you were gonna bring it on.
Yeah.
um,
Always got it with me.
Yeah, bro. So you've got a pretty good following. You've got about 3,500 followers. Are you on any other platforms besides Instagram?
I was on TikTok and then my first account got like shut down. I don't know why. I wasn't posting anything like strange on there.
Hmm.
But then I kind of gave up on TikTok, so it's really just Instagram right now.
What about YouTube Shorts?
No, nothing on YouTube Shorts. I haven't just haven't gotten into it. Honestly, it hasn't really crossed my mind. I was thinking about making like long-term YouTube videos once I grew my followers a bit more, but
Hmm.
yeah, no YouTube Shorts.
And you seem to have some crazy viewership on some of your videos, like in the millions.
Yeah.
How did you
Yeah,
achieve
yeah,
that?
yeah. Honestly, like when I started out, what I noticed was like the first videos I made had nothing to do with any of like my diet stuff or working out. It was just like motivational stuff. And I realized that if you want to raise your engagement, you need to do something like whether or not, you want to gain followers or not. You have to do something controversial or say
Hmm.
something controversial. So I was just basically thinking like what's the strangest thing I can do in the video that's like strange to most people who aren't involved like within the niche that's
Hmm.
also going to like draw in viewership, and then what's a caption I can put that connects to some people but really doesn't appeal to like 90% of the population watching the video. So that's how I did it. But yeah.
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you mean by that.
Yeah.
And it is a niche too, like the idea of drinking raw milk, raw liver. It's so
Hmm.
foreign to people. But
Yeah,
once
definitely.
once you're integrated into the community, it makes total sense.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
So you're also a coach. You're an athlete and coach. It says in your bio,
Yeah.
and then you also have a keyword that people can send to you to
Yeah,
through
definitely.
direct message to engage. Are
Yeah.
they engaging directly with you at that point?
Yeah, I don't have anybody who automates it or anything like that. I don't really want to get any automation yet because I feel like my follower count isn't high enough, nor do I get like enough inquiries to the point where it's like unhandleable.
Hmm.
And also like I like interacting with the people who follow me because I feel like honestly it's like a blessing that people care what I have to say,
Right.
and like they're interested in seeing like how I can help them, and I'm also interested in the same thing, like how can I help this certain person who wants my help. So
Hmm.
yeah, it's just like they send a keyword. Sometimes I post it on my story, and then from there, like I try my best to help them out.
Right. So I've got a lot of questions for you. First off, what
Sure.
sort of people are engaging? Like what are people giving you positivity and questions, or like how are you
You mean
engaging with
like
your
in general or on my stories?
on I guess on these videos that go super viral? Like are those the ones that people are going to send you DMs through, or are those just to get people brought to your page?
I mean both. Like from the really viral ones, I've gotten like a fair amount of DMs. But to be fair, most of those DMs are like hate stuff. Because thing is that people, I don't know what it is with people who are so against like opening their mind up to something new or like a new perspective of diet or working out or whatever it is,
Hmm.
but they just get so like repulsed by seeing someone do something that they heard is wrong,
Hmm.
and they just like it makes them ballistic. And believe it or not, I don't know if you've experienced this, but I'm sure if you like with any amount of followers, right, you'll see that there's people who just have like these ghost accounts on Reels where they just go like page to page and they just comment hate stuff. Like it doesn't matter. They just zero followers, zero posts. They just follow a couple thousand people, but they'll just spam hate stuff all over your page. It doesn't get to me. It never really did. But yeah, most of the engagement is negative. But then of course, you gain followers from videos like that from the people who agree, which is what you want, right? You want the people
Hmm.
who agree with you to follow, because then you build a community, and also you can then monetize. So yeah, that's like the goal. What I'd say is like 90% hate, 10%, people who are, super positive and into what I'm posting, which to me is a good ratio.
Right. So you've also
Yeah.
got you also have postings on your story where people can ask you questions, just if
Yeah.
they need some quick advice. What do you find people need the most, or where's the misinformation lie?
Within my followers, it's mainly my followers who are like, asking the questions when I post it on my story. But the thing is that a lot of people are scared about, let's say, like illness and disease. Because the thing is that, like, let's say I'll post myself smoking a cigar, or I'll post myself drinking raw milk, or eating a piece of raw meat, or drinking raw eggs, whatever it is, like that follows the diet that I do. There's always someone asking, like, even if they follow, like, oh, isn't this going to raise your cholesterol too much, or isn't this going to, give you a heart attack, or I don't know. They just ask like a lot of questions because what they've heard throughout their entire life is that the way that I live and the way that many other people within the niche live is that it's a negative thing to do, right? And so they question it even though they're following, which is perfectly fine because I'm always happy to answer.
Hmm. And the folks that are
Yeah.
in, is it a community that you have, or is it like a one-on-one coaching program?
It's a one-on-one thing. Eventually, I want to start a community because, like, I think that's the best way to bring people closer together. Because I've made a lot of friends, like, just off Instagram, and
Yeah.
like a couple who've I met up with in person. And honestly, like, that's such a good thing because I'm able to meet people who think like me, who do things similar to me, and it's just like that's a real blessing. And so eventually, I'm gonna probably open like a school community or like a Discord, something
Hmm.
really cheap, like 2, 3 bucks a month, and then just have that so that everybody can interact with people who they agree with.
Yeah. It's a brotherhood. Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
100%, 100%.
Yeah. And so the people that reach out for help, what sort of value are you going to provide to them? If you could advertise the course or your one-on-one program right now, how would you phrase it?
So I offer like, a very broad span of things, but what I mainly offer is like testosterone optimization and hormone optimization, and then I use that as kind of the building block around the rest of the program. So
Yeah.
first I want my clients to kind of change their mind on a lot of the things they think are wrong or unhealthy, and then once that's done, I can write them up training plans and nutritional plans, and I help them kind of biohack their way into recovering as fast as possible because what I'm
Mm.
basically advertising is what worked for me,
Hmm.
and what worked for me was doing what is essentially biohacking and essentially just eating on a really clean animal-based diet because that way when your hormones are optimized you recover at 100% and then you can put on way more muscle. And so whether you want to lose weight or gain weight, I think that hormone optimization is like the number one thing you should be focusing on before
100%.
bulking, before cutting, before all of that. Yeah.
Yeah, I had the exact same experience. Yeah, it
Yeah.
wasn't until like I would have success in Muay Thai,
Yeah.
or like I would just feel the effects of a clean diet, but it really
Right.
wasn't until I optimized my testosterone, and that I was number one able to eat a lot more food. That really surprised
Right.
me. I was able to
Yeah.
increase my calories without doing any strenuous cardio by like 1,000. Now I'm eating,
Wow.
I'll eat close to
Yeah.
4,000 calories a day and just walk. I'm just
Mhm.
walking. I won't even
Yeah.
lift that day. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. How long have you been doing Muay Thai?
Well, I actually stopped pretty recently, but
Hmm.
I was training for a few years, fought and competed. Like I was actively competing for about a year and a half, um, and then I did my last fight in early October of this year. Um,
Yeah.
I thought I would slow down for the winter. I stopped training completely. All my cardio now comes from walking, and then I do lifting
Hmm.
5 to 6, 7 days a week. Um,
Yeah.
but since then I've actually seen some crazy improvements in my health. Like
Yeah.
in terms of what I think is testosterone optimization. I haven't had any tests, but I was also going to
Hmm.
ask you: have you tested your testosterone?
Not recently, but I did back in, I want to say, I think it was in August. Yeah,
Yeah.
I did it in August because, to be completely transparent, like a couple years ago, I went on Accutane before I knew about any of this stuff. and because I had like pretty bad acne, right? Like a lot of cystic acne that just you couldn't pop, it would just never go away.
Mm-hmm.
And so the really negative side effects from Accutane that like had a massive impact negatively on my health kind of brought me to do blood tests every month. Also, that's what they recommended when you're on that cycle. And I did Accutane for almost a year, for 10 months on a really high dosage, so it really
Mm,
messed my body up. And so when I started the animal-based diet, and then I went on vacation, on the end of the vacation, I came back and then I took a test, and I tested at 1100 nanograms per deciliter, and that was in August. That was
yeah,
before I started doing all of the raw organs, and like it was before I was really, really, really locked in, but I was in within the idea.
yeah. So would you assume that it's
Yeah.
gone up since then?
Yeah, 100%, because I feel a lot better. And also, the amount of muscle I've put on since August, in September was when I started my second bulk, and I managed to put on around 20 pounds of lean muscle. So I started when I was around
Wow.
180, and now I'm 202 pounds. And a little bit of that is fat, but most of it was muscle, yeah.
Yeah, and you could pretty much gauge that by looking in the mirror too. Like you'd be able to
Yeah,
tell, yeah, maybe 2 to 3 pounds of this is going to be fat. But I think yeah, you've got a great idea. Most of it is pretty intuitive. I don't know if you've done some independent research, but in my
yeah.
experience, it was just anecdotal. I realized, listen, testosterone optimization is just the catalyst to achieving any goal in your life.
Right, as a man, 100%. Yeah, there's no doubt about that. My whole family though is full of doctors, right? And to be fair, they're all pretty unhealthy.
Yeah.
Yeah, like and I argue with them all the time. It's not that I have a bad relationship with them, but
Hmm.
we do get into arguments a lot about that stuff. And so that kind of pushed me to do a lot of personal research, because I don't want to
Mm,
be without ammunition when I'm in a conversation with them, since they
fair
read
enough.
studies, do studies all the time. Yeah, but even before that, before I started doing any research, again, like what you said, it's intuitive. Like when I got into this, I was just listening to a lot of Paul Saladino podcasts,
Yeah.
and I'm like, it makes so much sense, right? Like that, just you eat things that are supposed to be eaten, that want to be eaten,
Hmm.
and you kind of live in a way that's not modernistic, because the modern world, just for profit, tries to kind of weaken everything about you.
Right.
It's in my opinion, it's not so much as a conspiracy, like they're trying to weaken you so they control you. It's more of like it's a convenience thing. Like a lot of
Yeah.
people eat frozen food and eat garbage fast food every single day because they don't want to cook, or it's just
Hmm.
easier for them on their way home. It's stuff like that, and then these companies take advantage of that and they profit.
Yeah.
And whether or not that has like a whether or not there's malice behind that, I don't know. But yeah, it just all made sense to me, so that's why I really started digging deeper.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's a pretty similar inspiration to what I had. I loved Paul Saladino's podcasts. He kind of slowed
yeah,
down a little bit. But
yeah, I agree.
he's a busy guy. He's got a lot going on. But I
Yeah,
definitely gained a lot of knowledge from him.
he's like a very friendly way to get into the whole thing, because like a lot of the people who do what we do, who live this kind of way, are
Hmm.
very, very intense about it. And I'm sure like you can say that the majority of my page is also fairly intense, because it's a lot of rage baity stuff to gain engagement.
Right.
But I don't really, my mom's vegetarian. Recently she just started eating meat because she knows, she saw me do this for long enough. But it's been like around a year and a half since I really went all in, and it took her only a year and a half to start eating meat again. So it's a process for everybody,
Yeah.
but you just got to do what you can. And first step is opening your mind.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, you know what? I hear that, and having listened to a lot of Paul Saladino, I can take
Yeah.
some positivity out of that situation. Being a or is she
Yeah.
vegan or vegetarian, or was she?
Vegetarian, because we live on a farm.
Okay.
So we have like, my mom is really close to all of her animals, right?
Mm,
And she looks at them as like kind of like friends. She grew up on a farm. I'm growing up on a farm, but even though I grew up around all these different types of animals, like we have exotic animals, livestock, whatever, you name it. And even though I grew up around that, I don't, there some animals you don't eat, right? Like you don't eat a parrot, right? But then the goats, for example, and then like we had, a cow a long time ago and stuff like that. those animals, with all due respect, they're not as personable, like they're not as, close to humans as, let's say, a parrot or a dog would be. So like it says in biblical texts, like it says in, all of human history, those animals are meant to be used for their products,
Yeah,
also with, with all being completely humane. You don't abuse them, you just use them for their products, and you thank the animal after. That's how I look at it.
yeah. There's an ancestral consideration behind the animal-based diet.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what
Yeah,
I
and
was gonna,
also regeneratively, humans have a symbiotic relationship with the earth. So if
yeah,
you're able to keep that up, then you're doing the right thing, in my opinion.
yeah. That's exactly why grounding and sunlight are extremely beneficial. Yeah. And
Yeah,
I was
100%.
I was going to touch
People,
on
yeah.
earlier.
Hmm.
Your mom's a vegetarian. She recently switched to eating
Yeah,
meat, but she's intentional about her
hmm,
health. That takes effort. That
exactly.
takes
So,
work. If you want to be vegetarian, like you have to
yeah,
make some serious lifestyle changes.
yeah, 100%. And she, for some people it comes easier, but a lot of people, in my opinion, just from what I've seen, do it for health. They're just misguided, and they go on a vegetarian diet because that's what they've heard is the
For
healthiest
sure.
thing. And then once
Yeah.
they realize it's not, then they're more open to changing it up.
Yeah.
Because it takes a toll after the years. It really does.
But they all have good intentions in mind. Yeah. Like it's
Some of them, yeah.
you don't want to assume maybe for it's not going to be the same for everyone, but it's not great to assume malice when someone's a vegetarian
Yeah,
or
not
a
at all.
vegan. They're great people at the end of the day, but they're just
Yeah,
misinformed. Like it's just
yeah,
misinformation. Yeah,
100%. I agree. That's really what it is, bottom line.
yeah. So you're on a farm.
Hmm.
I actually I live on a farm as well. It's not livestock. We've got some crops
Hmm.
um, set back about 100 meters from the house. We would
Hmm.
like to get some livestock, but where are you? My main question behind that is where are you connecting with me from? Are you in the States? Are you in Canada? Or are you
Yeah,
elsewhere?
so I'm in Los Angeles, so I'm in California.
Okay.
And I'm right outside like the main city of LA, like I'm in the more of the suburbs, and the area that I live in, not to get too specific, but it's a lot of big properties. Not
Mm,
like specifically the house, just the amount of land that the houses sit on is pretty large. Like we have around an acre. And our farm is more of like my mom calls it an urban farm because it's not like we kind of do a bunch of things on the farm. We don't really produce milk year round, nor do we produce meat, but we have eggs. We have milk when they're breeding, and we also do like a bunch of programs that help people with like special needs. So that's like my mom's specific job, is that she kind of helps people with special needs like do animal therapy. So through the parrots, through the dogs, through the goats, whatever. We have alpacas as well. So it's very diverse, you would say.
that's awesome. Yeah. So
Yeah, yeah.
so did you gain your inspiration to become a content creator from your experience with Accutane?
No, not necessarily. What it was is that I don't know if you can tell from my videos, but a lot of people pointed out. But I train at the Young LA gym, so like the company Young LA, the clothing brand.
I'm familiar.
Um,
I don't know much
yeah,
about it.
they have a gym.
Okay.
Yeah, and so the gym opened up right next to my house, like literally 2 minutes drive. Like it's a 15-minute walk,
Mm,
and one day I just went up to like one of these like big fitness influencers in my old gym because he would come there a lot before that gym was fully open, and I just asked him, I'm like, "Yo, does it do you need to be like a content creator to come in, or like what is it? Like, can I get a membership?" And he's like, "Yeah, let me just connect you with the guy." And I didn't have any social media back then. And so then being around all of these like people who, are making good amount of money on social media, and they're also doing what they love, which is like fitness, gym, whatever, and that's their career, that kind of inspired me to, start posting. And then from there it evolved.
right. And before
Yeah.
you started posting, were you already engaged in the animal-based lifestyle?
Yeah, so like I said earlier, I started more or less like going all in back in, August of 2023, more or less, or actually a little bit before that. Um, and what it was that again, like I said, I just I noticed when I was lifting before, I was eating a lot of chicken, rice, like very plain bodybuilding meals, right? Also
Hmm.
like a shit ton of oatmeal, and peanut butter, excuse my language. But yeah, that stuff made me literally like I was literally napping for like 3 hours every day because I was just so lethargic and bloated all the time. And
Hmm.
I'm like, dude, there's no way that like this is supposedly healthy and you feel like that after you eat that meal. Like it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So then I started experimenting and like eating like for a long time I didn't even have any grains or potatoes or stuff like that in my diet. It was just fruit, honey and meat. And that was before I even had access to raw milk. And so when I was eating like that, I was literally never bloated. Like I never felt tired. I would eat a massive meal of beef and fruit and I would just feel fine. And
Yeah.
so I'm like, there it makes sense here. And so I just kept going, doing my research, and from there it just went up.
Yeah. It's almost like
Yeah.
the intuitive based diet or the intuitive diet because it does make a lot
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah, that's everything it is. It's really logic. Like if you want to be logical about it and you really look into how humans have lived forever, then you'll end up finding this.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How
Um
did you get into it,
um I would say, well, it's actually a very there's a very long course of history in my nutrition. I was doing the carnivore diet back in like grade 8, which would have
Oh
been
wow.
20 as far back as 2018. I'm '05, by the way. Um,
Oh yeah, me too. Me too. I'm 19.
okay, sweet. Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
turned
fire,
19 in
bro.
April
Fire.
last year. Yeah.
Amazing, bro. Doing big
So
things already, bro.
yeah, man. Yeah, we're taking over the internet. Um,
Let's get it, bro.
So I would do a few weeks of the carnivore diet every now and it would fix my gut. It would
Hmm.
fix my constipation. Like those were my two main issues, really: energy, constipation, gut issues. And then I had trouble sticking to it because I was the only. It was my dad and I. We were the only people in my family that were sort of being intentional at that point. And
Hmm.
then the pandemic hit, and I just had a few realizations that I need to lock in. So I
Hmm.
started the carnivore again, did about 9 months, did my first fight camp, saw huge
Wow.
results, pretty much optimized like
On carnivore?
on carnivore. Yeah, yeah, and there's a
Wow.
lot of cardio involved in a Muay Thai fight camp.
Yeah. I did MMA for like 8 years and I did Muay Thai like specifically for 2 years. So
Oh yeah,
yeah, I definitely know. Yeah, I only did one amateur fight, but yeah, man, that stuff's hard.
yeah, it's badass, but
Yeah.
it's badass too. So you've stepped in the ring.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like multiple
That's
times. I
that's cool.
also yeah, I also did a lot of like basically a lot of training for people who were going to step in the ring because my parents didn't want me, ever getting into professional fighting. So yeah, but
Mm.
but continue going.
Yeah, I did two technically like one and a half fight camps because I started the animal based diet midway through the second one. I noticed that
Hmm.
I was experiencing um, my main issues were with regard to recovery. I needed
Yeah.
carbohydrates.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know what they're called, heart palpitations. I would get heart
Yeah.
palpitations. I would wake up suddenly at night, like I would get a shock in my body. Um,
Hmm.
and so carbohydrates, but I could not scale my carbohydrates for the longest time.
Hmm.
I would get
Yeah.
bloated because I would overeat on fruit every single time. I would take a single bite and just overeat. So I think I had to fix my metabolism for carbohydrates, but the carnivore diet did wonders for me. Oh my goodness. Like
Yeah, I bet.
it completely reset my metabolism. I never crave ultra processed food.
Yeah.
It gave me a great baseline. Like, Carnivore Ray, it gave me a great baseline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that guy. He's a cool guy.
Yeah. I think he would have
But yeah,
kept.
that's sick.
I think he would have gone full animal based if he
Hmm.
hadn't done this fruit bender. I think if he had just scaled his carbohydrates to activity, I think that's so important. Scaling your carbohydrates to your activity level, because man, fruit
Yeah.
is delicious, but you need to eat it.
Yeah, pace yourself.
Yeah. And then but
Yeah,
now
I
I can
saw.
now I don't
Yeah.
I'll eat one apple and I'll be full because I feel like my
Yeah.
metabolism has been reset. I'm not hungry for
A
more than
hundred
that.
percent. Yeah, like it was entertaining seeing him like incorporate honey and like kiwis he was into a lot. Like that was entertaining because like I love meat. Don't get me wrong, right? But I feel like God created fruit and honey and like these sweet
Yeah,
things for a reason.
for sure.
And like I can't imagine just eating meat. Like I did carnivore for like 2 weeks, and I know that's not long enough to really experience like any true 100% results. I don't even know if I was in ketosis, but it was just it was boring, like taste wise. I was eating as much different types of ways I can do them eat, and it was just harsh, but yeah,
Mm.
once you get back to normal animal base, I think that's like the sweet spot 100%.
Yeah, 100%. I would only really recommend the carnivore diet for someone who needed to make some serious remedies to
Yeah,
their metabolism, or you have like
like a reset.
autoimmune you need to find that baseline. If you already
Yeah,
have a
yeah,
baseline
yeah,
and you just need to not be fat, you just need to lose
yeah.
some weight, you can eat carbs for sure. Yeah.
100%. Yeah, yeah. I have a buddy, like one of my best friends, who has ulcerative colitis,
Mm.
which is like a crazy bad stomach disease, right? And his case specifically was like really, really bad at its peak. And he met with some guy um who, like, I don't know who this guy was, but it was like another animal based guy, right, who was like also a doctor, had credentials, whatever. And the guy told him to start incorporating like raw kefir, like
Mm.
tons of raw probiotics, and also to like basically lay off of like the heavy grains, bread, stuff like that. And his ulcerative colitis basically healed 100%.
Yeah.
But the thing is that now if he ever eats like processed food, let's say he's out, he eats like, I don't know, something sweet, or like, I don't know, you name it.
Yeah.
His flare up, like he gets like crazy bad flare ups, and then he has to reset basically for another couple weeks. But
Mm.
yeah, for me it was like once I got on this diet 100%, and when so I personally track my calories because it helps me stay disciplined. I don't recommend it to everybody, but I just like doing it.
Yeah.
But when I do that, I never feel the need to like deviate from my diet ever, like
Yeah.
at all. Yeah, so for me, it's really good.
I do it as well. I
Yeah,
track my I track my calories because probably for a very similar reason. I like to know
yeah,
where I'm at. I
me
just
too.
like knowing where I'm at. I don't think I would I
100%.
don't think I would gain weight. I don't think I would impede muscle growth. But I just
Mm,
like knowing how many calories I'm consuming. I like just I think knowledge is power, you know,
yeah,
in all facets of your life. But I get I receive a lot of benefit from calorie counting because I work a 9 to 5.
yeah,
I need
yeah,
to
I bet.
prepare my
Also, then
meals.
yeah, you can schedule things, you can like work around your job. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, like I'm packing lunch 4 or 5 days a week, so I need to know that I'm not only I would never overeat. If I brought too much food, I just wouldn't eat it all,
Hmm.
and I would go home. I'd be like, hey, like I wasn't, I continue tracking, and I'd probably still land around the same caloric intake, but have food left over
Yeah,
from lunch. So I don't want to waste food. I don't want to not bring enough. you know. So for those, I don't want to have to buy food.
yeah,
I think
definitely.
it's really easy to stay within a budget when you're only consuming whole foods. You're not giving into a lot of vices and indulgences.
Yeah, and things that you should be eating. Yeah, 100%. It's also cost effective. Like if you're not, you know, constantly trying new things, like let's say you're regimented, right?
Mm.
You're spending less money. Because like for instance, my friends, most of them, they don't do what I do, right? And then on the weekends, for example, let's say we go out, they'll spend tons of money on food going out, right? And it's all fast food stuff that's like completely bad for you, and stuff that's specifically full of seed oils, always fried stuff, always also stuff super high in gluten, like pasta and whatever.
Yeah,
But yeah, that costs a lot of money. Every outing you go on could be like that money could be spent on your food,
yeah,
realistically. And
yeah,
when you're dialed in this way, you also don't feel the need to, go out and do X, Y, and Z specifically. Like I have a girlfriend also, so I don't feel the need to chase after girls. So for me, everything's kind of, dialed in, locked in, and I feel really like blessed that that's where my life is at. Genuinely.
yeah. It's all in one place.
Yeah, 100%. It's the best. It's like when you're so focused on like achieving a goal, having everything ready and reliable all the time is like the best way to focus on your goals.
Hmm. Hmm. And
Yeah,
and so let's shift back to your coaching.
sure.
Where do you find that people are most misinformed? Like, how do you feel you're providing the most value? Is it lifting? Do you teach people how to lift properly, or are you more focused on
Yeah.
lifestyle and nutrition?
So far I've only had 3 clients like who have stuck with me throughout like their journey. Two of them were friends that I did like semi free, semi for like a price, and then I have one guy right now who I'm doing, on a full blown program for, a monthly cost. But what I've noticed out of all of them is that, and also with people who I help a lot of people without charging them anything just within the DMs. Like
Right.
sometimes,
Yeah.
a lot of my followers will just text me throughout the day, just asking
Hmm.
for tips. And what I'll tell you that I've noticed specifically about people being misinformed is that a lot of people have like a very lazy mentality on like 99% of the things they do all across their life,
Mm.
right? And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way, but a lot of people ask me about lifting and they'll be like, yeah, but I just go in, like I do like one set to failure, I'll do like X, Y, and Z, I'll run around the gym, I'll do these workouts. A lot of people also walk into the gym and they won't have a training plan. Like they'll just walk in, do whatever, and leave.
Right.
Right. And they know that's not what they're supposed to be doing, but they're just too lazy to go on YouTube, look at it, watch a Jeff Nippard video and like make a workout plan.
Yeah.
And then also when it comes to diet, a lot of people are just plain misinformed about the fact that they need to eat the right foods in order to feel good. Like they just think they're going to feel good out of nowhere. And it's, maybe what I'm saying doesn't make sense, but like these people genuinely believe that they can just do whatever and they'll just get what they want. But the reality is you have to actually chase after your goals, right? Whether that be feeling good, whether that be high testosterone, full recovery, whatever it is, you need to chase after it actively. Like you need to go and get that. So yeah, out of the people who I help and like the people who I coach, that's the number one thing that they're missing for sure.
Right. So it goes beyond even testosterone optimization, diet, lifestyle training. It's like it's the mindset. It's being present and making the right
Yeah.
choices.
Yeah, you got to rewire a lot of people's brains before they're able to work.
Yeah.
They got to start thinking a different way before they can actually be open to making full-blown progress.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
And what are your goals with influencing? Because I know you've gotten quite a bit of reach. I mean,
Yeah.
having 1.8 million people watch you in a video,
Yeah.
that's pretty wild to think about, you know?
Yeah,
So,
100%. When it first
so
happened, I was shocked.
where do you plan on taking your platform? Do you want to be a full-time content creator?
Yeah, definitely. Like it's what I love doing. Like what I do for work right now is I sell roofs. So I'm in sales, right? And I've been in sales since I was like 15, right?
Awesome.
And like full time. And when it comes to selling, home improvement, which is what I do, it's a roofing. You don't work that much, right? At all, right? So like I'm working at most, like let's say I'm working every day, I'm working at most like 3 hours a day, right? Because I'll have like a couple meetings in a day, which
Hmm.
I'm spending like 30 to at most 45 minutes at, and then it's just the driving to the places that takes the most time, and then I'm done.
Hmm.
And then once those roofs sell, and then I start their job, I'm visiting the job site like twice a day, but it's not taking much out of my day at all, right? It's not like I used to work in sales 9 to 5, like in an office, and that was a lot more intensive time wise.
Hmm.
So now that I've gotten like a taste of what it is to like, be kind of independent and just like most of your days spent around the gym and around eating and around making videos and whatnot, I know for a fact like that's what I want to do. And my end goal is to eventually like grow a large enough following and then release like a product, that's really helping change people's lives. Like I don't know if you're familiar with Carnivore Aurelius. He has like a collagen product, right? And
Hmm.
that's like it's like 100% grass-fed beef collagen. And he shows all these studies about how collagen drops off after the age of like 21 and it just goes 1% lower every year. And restoring your collagen is important for your skin, for your joints, whatever.
Hmm.
That's a useful product. That's a product that's not too processed, and that's a product that can help that can help be more convenient for 99% of people.
Yeah.
Instead of brewing up a bone broth or buying some from the store, you just buy this collagen, put some in your coffee, in your drink, whatever, and you're good to go.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my goal. Like I want to do of something very similar. Like I don't want to do coaching forever because I feel like there's a limit to how many people you can coach before it starts being too automized, and then you're not actually helping them as much as you can. You get what I mean?
Right. Yeah. So your
Yeah.
your method of influencing people or being an influencer and having these clients is you need to be one on one with them. You need to be present with them.
Yeah. Because like there's a lot of guys online, like big names, right? They have like 500,000 followers, 400,000 followers that they offer coaching, but Just from based on like the reviews of people who have worked with them that I know, it's like I'm not judging them for it, but it's hard for them to reach people one on one. Like you have, 500 people watching you all the time and you probably have hundreds of clients.
Hmm.
It's really, really, really hard to meet with each person one on one.
Right.
And the thing is, if you want people to change and you're the catalyst for their change as their coach, you need to make them feel like they're important. Even if you don't have time for them, you need to find a way to do so. And if you're hiring somebody to do it for you, it's not the same. You know what I mean?
Yes. Okay. So
Yeah,
and
that's how I see it.
when did you launch your program?
Honestly, really recently, like I think like a month ago.
Yeah.
Before that, I was doing it just kind of under wraps. Like whoever wanted, they would just DM me or,
Hmm.
like
And
when I
you'd be
was doing it
obliged
for
to
my
help.
friends, like yeah, like
Yeah.
happily, and even for free just to get like some transformations. And I have like one guy, like a friend who's severely overweight, and he managed to lose like 80 pounds,
Wow.
like working with me. And then, yeah, sadly, he put the weight back on because he just kind of gave up on the whole thing. I feel like there's not much I can do from that point to help him, but in cases
Fair
like
enough.
that, anecdotally, I was just able to give him the value that he needed to make the initial progress. After that, it's a lot on the person. A coach can't do all the work for you.
Yeah.
You need to also want it. Also, that's why when you pay someone, your wallet's also at an obligation, right? You're spending money, and that's an obligation for you to make change. Because if you don't,
There's a commitment.
make change, you're just wasting money.
You have skin in the game. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's
So
like fighting, really. It's like fighting. You're risking getting hurt, so you might as well train your ass off so you don't get hurt, if that makes sense.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah. You got to train hard because fights are hard.
exactly. And life is not easy, especially if you're overweight or very underweight or whatever it is, whatever health problems you have going on. It's not easy to make a change at all. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
we've both been there, so we know.
Especially it must be a massive switch for some of these people because
Yeah,
I was in a pretty blessed situation.
yeah,
My parents were pretty knowledgeable. Um, that like my dad was telling me about the carnivore diet when I was in grade 8. So I'm very
wow,
blessed to be in that situation. But there's so much misinformation that I can imagine how mind-boggling it is to see a guy like you drinking raw milk and talking about raw liver. And like some of your videos are
yeah.
just hilarious to see. Like my reaction to you
Yeah,
eating
that's the
seed
point. It's
oils.
like to
Yeah.
yeah, just get people to comment, and then in reality, like on the video that has like 1.8 million views, I'll really tell you the secret. It's that people were commenting so much on that video, and then the people who agree with me are just fighting with the people in the comments. So it's like
Right.
World War III
Yeah.
in the comments section.
Straight
There's
up.
like thousands of comments, and that video is running in the background while they're commenting, and the
Hmm.
views just roll.
Yeah.
So that's what it is. If you can get people to engage in the comments, which is all of what Instagram Reels is about. Like if you scroll on Reels, you see that every video, the comment section is like the entertaining part. So
Yeah.
that's the goal for Instagram Reels. You want to get people to interact in the comments.
Yeah. You need to get people to engage in the video. Yeah.
Yeah, and most of the time, positive comments aren't enough. Like as sad as it is, people don't. Let's say one person writes a positive comment. Not It's not often that somebody's going to reply and agree with their positivity. Maybe they'll like it, but
Hmm.
it's the heat is in the argument
Hmm.
more than it is in the support. So to get the majority of the people who agree with you, you need to step through the fire of all the criticism, and then that's how you get to it.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So when did people start engaging in your content? When did you notice it start to take off? Was it gradual or did it?
No, no, it was fast, man. It
Yeah.
was really fast. Like, yeah, because I said earlier I was doing like motivational videos and they were flopping like crazy. Because
Mm.
back then, the meta on Instagram Reels, I don't know if you're familiar with like Sushi Bros and all these like motivational guys,
No, I'm not.
where what they would do is, yeah, they would just make like these 1 minute long videos where they would just talk in the camera and they just say some motivational stuff. Like they'd start the video with them like flashing a bunch of money, and then they're like, yo, if you want to get to this, you got to do this. And then they go on a rant for like 1 minute.
Mm.
And back then, those videos, that specific type was like blowing up like crazy. So I'm like, you know what? I'll just follow the trend.
Right.
And then I came across, if you know who Patrick Ivan is, he's that Balkan, Jack Balkan dude who eats the raw liver like on
Yeah,
camera.
man, I love that guy.
Yeah, yeah, he's a cool guy. I came across him and I'm like, man, what he's doing is working so well. Like he's just being controversial, like doing what he does, and that's giving him tons of engagement.
It's so
And so I'm
authentic.
like, I'll just try stuff like that. So I started doing videos similar to kind of what made him blow up, just with my own twist and like me doing my own thing.
Hmm.
And then that's what really skyrocketed. The first like three videos I posted doing just me drinking raw milk in my backyard, like with because back then I had a big beard too. Those like first three videos, like the first two flopped, and the other one just instantly like 50K views, like bam, one shot, and I'm like, whoa. Like off that video, I got like 700 followers, right?
Mm.
And to me, that was like bizarre. And so I just kept doing it, and I just kept spamming them and kept spamming them, and then now I got to a point where my followers have kind of plateaued, and so now I'm trying to make like more informative videos that people, even if they disagree, can kind of relate to. So like I posted one a couple days ago that was like a minute long of just me talking about why raw milk is beneficial and like debunking some of the arguments against it. And so I'm going to make like 3 to 4 of those a week and see where that goes in terms of growing my page. But yeah, it's all rolling with the trends type of game. So you kind of have to adjust in your own way to the trend
Right.
and then put your own twist on it and then roll with it until there's a new one. That's really what it is.
Yeah. So the desire, or the niche that you're filling has sort of shifted a little bit. Has
Yeah.
has the viewership gone down for the videos that in the past would have gotten some
Yeah. Yeah, a
views?
little bit, but I'll tell you there's two factors to that. There's not to be too TMI or overshare, but like a couple months ago my grandpa passed away. And so it was very hard to make content when that was going on. Not like not
Understandably.
because I was
Yeah.
so affected by it. I was, but it was mainly just because you're with your family 24/7. Everybody's like together all the time. It's kind of selfish to focus on that when you should be tending to like the people who are going through it the most. And so I took like a 1 to 2 week break. It was like I think 2 weeks total, and that just completely killed my engagement. And
Mm.
the reason is because if you're not consistent, your account's just not going to blow up unless you have like a lot of followers.
Yeah.
Because the initial push your videos are getting from like your core following isn't enough to push it to the algorithm if you don't have a big enough following. Like you need a cool 100,000 followers on Instagram for you to be able to take like a couple weeks break and then come back and go back with the flow. You need to be consistent for a while until those that viewership starts compounding. Because once you have the algorithm, you have the algorithm.
Hmm. So right now you're
Yeah,
scaling your content. You're trying to scale the coaching program.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you got
Right
some
now, I'm
good
just
stuff.
going with the flow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just playing. I'm just playing with it, seeing what's working. As of now, seeing like
Right.
what I can do with it, and also specifically just trying to bring on more clients for the coaching,
Hmm.
because that's like what I want to have on the side. Just in case the engagement goes down all the time. So some way to interact is better than nothing.
Yeah. So you're in sort of like
Yeah.
an experimental phase of sorts right now.
Yeah, 100%. Right now, definitely. That's what you can call it.
Yeah. Did you take
Yeah.
inspiration from any other content creators? Like to, I guess you did
Yeah,
mention
definitely.
Patrick Ivan. What
Yeah,
about, and then
from him I took a
also in
lot.
terms of in terms of from an educational perspective, as well as the
Yeah.
actual content you're
Yeah,
creating.
yeah. Yeah, you could say like from, there's Patrick Ivan, there's Paul Saladino, there's Carnivore Aurelius, like they're all just pretty big names, but in essence like when I started, I was just copying people more or
Hmm.
less, and now I kind of found my own like niche. And not to blow my own horn, but a lot of the people within the animal-based niche follow me, and so it kind of shows that I've like to me at least it shows that I've established like a standing within that community, even with a low follower count, relative to what these other people have, which is to me enough to kind of tell me that what I'm doing is good and I should keep it up.
Yeah.
Because if the people who succeeded at it are giving you recognition, then it's safe to say that you're doing something that they think is good, which all in all is just a good way to keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good point. Do you have
Yeah.
consistent viewership? Do all of your videos get a certain amount of views?
Yeah, definitely. Like I think all of my videos break like I want to say like 4 to 5 thousand views, like
Yeah.
all of them.
Yeah.
Um, if they're up for a couple days, they'll always break that. Some of them break it really fast, and then at one point I was consistently getting like over 15K views a video. Like there was a you can scroll in my profile, you'll see like a big chunk of like maybe 20 or 30 reels that each one did like substantially well. And that I have to credit to the consistency because back then I had like 15 reels scheduled every single day. So no matter what, I would always have like a couple days in advance just posting for me. Right?
Mm.
I would just upload them all at night and then get it going like that. Right now I still do that, but I'm spacing it out more because I'm trying to figure out a new strategy to kind of break away more from like the negative engagement and get more positive engagement. So I feel like now it's time to kind of separate a little bit and find something new.
How often are you posting?
Right now I'm posting like once a day, more or
Okay.
less. But back then I was doing 3 times a day. And everybody who I knew, like in my personal life, was telling me like every time I open my phone, like I just see your face.
Yeah.
And also there's a lot of people like in my comments like, yo, I can't escape this guy. Like even if they follow, even if they don't. And I think if you're starting out, that's like the best thing to do 3 times a day, like 100%. You just gotta post, 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 and try your best to keep it quality, of course. But at that point, it's more about quantity than quality because when you post 3 times a day, one of them is gonna go viral eventually.
Yeah. Is there a clear is there any clear room for improvement that you see in your content?
Yeah, 100%. There's improvement everywhere, right? Because the thing is that some people are really good at editing, some people are really good at captions, some people are good at whatever. Thing is that specifically in the videos I make where I'm just filming myself drinking or eating something that people don't agree with and then I'm captioning something over it, in those there's a lot of room for like a lot more improvement than you'd think. Most people think those videos take a couple seconds to film. No, you got to kind of pay attention to where you're filming, right? You want to be in an area that's there's nothing behind you that's covering the text. You also
Mm-hmm.
want to be in an area that looks interesting, somewhere with good lighting, but not too much lighting where it oversaturates the camera. You also need to come up with captions that are not overly specific, but not overly broad, right? Overly broad is fine once in a while, but if you're trying to gain a certain amount of followers, like who agree with you, you need something within the niche, but not too specific, right?
Mm.
Because then those videos just won't go viral. And then you also need to focus on, of course, like the angle in which you're doing things in the video and stuff like that, stuff that just looks more pleasing to the eye so that people can watch it for longer and then increase the chance of them engaging in the comments. That's the breakdown. And then for the other videos I just started making, it's just finding a topic that's controversial, and then that specifically all comes down to editing, right? Because I made a video a couple days ago that with my followers did really well, and that was like the raw note debunking video. That one, if the editing was just a bit better, I think for sure would have broke like 20K views at least. But it wasn't there 100%. So that's definitely where I need to improve.
Right. So for you,
Yeah.
your future plan with influencing is getting people engaged in that content so that you can get them in your program and start coaching them and changing their lives.
Yeah, 100%. Also, like I said again, once my follower count goes up, I'm gonna for sure release like a community, so that even if I'm not coaching most of these people, I'm just giving them valuable information and giving them a place to start because most people are very misdirected when they're starting out on like the animal-based diet or they're just starting out trying to change their health. They're looking in places that are too intense or looking in places that are too loose, or you
Mm-hmm.
get my point. Like you need to give people a sense of direction that's scalable,
Yeah.
right? For them, for their personal life, something that they can do in the short term and then also a long-term goal. But yeah, not to diss on any other creators, just a lot of these people are pitching a very, very, very intense way of doing things, which is fine, but for the audience that is already doing the prerequisite, it's very hard to get into 100% raw foods or stuff like that if you don't even eat like a pound of meat a day, for example, right? I just started doing like a little bit of raw meat, which for example just like digests super well. Whenever I eat the raw meat, I feel really good after, and I it
Yeah, bro.
digests really well, but I'm not eating a lot right? If I was just starting out, if I was going from chicken and rice to eating raw ground beef, that's not sustainable. So you need to
Mm-hmm.
find something that's
You need a stepping
sustainable.
stone. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. If you're a part of the animal-based niche, it's super evident that right now, it's scaling rapidly.
Oh, yeah. It's the biggest thing right now, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Especially with the U.S. election,
Yeah.
there is a lot happening right now. Yeah, so that's
Yeah, yeah,
only that's
100%.
only more inspiration for you to get out there and spread your message
Yeah, yeah,
because
for everybody.
what you're sipping right there is illegal in Canada.
Like 100%?
Fully illegal. You will be if you are
Wow.
if you are a farm, a dairy farm in Canada, and you're caught selling
Hmm.
that to the public, not on a cow share or however they phrase
Hmm.
it, you will be fined. You might have your property. I don't know if they'll take your property, but they might confiscate your livestock. They'll confiscate all of the milk. They'll take your license if you
I
have
didn't
any
know that.
licenses. Yeah, it's brutal.
Yeah, I didn't know that. In California, luckily, it's like they're opening up. Also in a couple other states, I don't know which in specific, but
Hmm.
the company Raw Farm, who's like kind of the face of raw dairy right now,
Yeah,
they in California were like are scaling like crazy. So raw milk in California is super easy to get, but it is expensive.
yeah,
So yeah, it sucks that it's illegal in some places. It doesn't make sense. Like seed oils are legal, all that other garbage is legal. You can buy a bag of Takis and destroy your stomach, but you can't drink, unpasteurized milk. Doesn't make sense to me.
yeah,
Like really
exactly.
doesn't. Because we're in 2024, man. Like the cleanliness standards are way higher than they were in, 1910. So it's
Hmm.
like it's a no-brainer, they're just very biased and they're not willing to change their perspectives, most of these people in governments and jurisdictions and whatnot.
Yeah, and that was what originally demonized raw milk, if I'm not mistaken. It was the standards for cleanliness. Actually
Yeah,
did
back
get
then.
people sick from it. People did get sick from
Yeah,
drinking raw milk.
yeah, and people also give me a lot of crap for drinking raw eggs, right? But do they know why salmonella happens? Salmonella happens when the poop touches the food,
Hmm.
right? If the eggs aren't cleaned, right? If they're not sanitary, the outside of the eggs, right? If they're not sanitary, and then those particles get into the eggs, then your chance of salmonella is high, or higher than it would be in general. But if you're buying eggs that were cleaned from a trustable source or from a grocery store, something that the chicken was fed, good food, something that just in all aspects is a clean source, then your risk is basically zero.
Yeah,
You have more of a chance of getting foodborne illness from like raw from a lettuce, at the store.
yeah,
In the
straight up.
US, E. coli outbreaks happen like every couple months in grocery store lettuce. But I've been doing raw milk, raw foods for like, especially raw milk and raw eggs for like a year and a half. I'm fine, I'm better than ever. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
it's very weird.
Better for you than lettuce and almond milk. I've heard recently.
Oh
Almond
yeah,
people are getting sick
yeah,
from
that was
that.
also listeria.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's pretty
crazy
wild.
stuff. But
Yeah.
yeah, but they don't want to admit it. So all you can do is you can just keep pushing it. And also now that, like you said, the elections are, putting RFK Jr. in charge, which is good.
Hmm.
Personally, I don't think it's going to change much because he's battling trillion-dollar companies. Like he's
Hmm.
literally fighting the world right now, right? Like he's banning things that are making these people so much money,
Yeah,
right? So, it's going to be hard for him to actually make really, really, really big changes really fast. But if this compounds, and after this election, then the next president also hires someone who's within the same ideas, and that just keeps compounding, then within 10 years, within 15 years, the whole world could be different health wise,
yeah.
right? As you know, America's like one in two people are overweight,
Hmm.
right? That could change. They need to take a different perspective on food. That's all it really is.
Yeah. Within the short term, I believe all the change is probably going to happen on social media. And that's a good point too.
Yeah.
Man, people are fat in the U.S. As
Oh
a
yeah.
as a Canadian, I can vouch for our population. Um, it's actually a cultural shock when you go to the United States as a Canadian. Uh,
Yeah.
we're sort of seen as like an arm or a leg or even like a finger that's sort of
Hmm.
tilting off of the US. Like we're seen to be very similar, but actually
Yeah.
not at
Not at
all.
all.
In a lot of different ways,
Yeah.
we've got our own problems over here. But
Hmm.
um, but I went to Texas recently for a few days. I
Yeah.
visited Texas A&M, and there is access to food everywhere.
Oh yeah.
Everywhere you go, it's food, food, food. On every corner, everyone's always eating. Everyone has terrible acne. I noticed you don't have any acne. Everyone that's gone on the show
Yeah,
today
not
has had. I've had all the guys that came on today. They're all fitness
hmm
influencers. None of them have any acne. I went down to the
yeah.
States to Texas A&M University. All these kids have acne. They're not
hmm
all obese, but they all they all have, you can see it
In
in their
some way, yeah,
face.
they're unhealthy. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's all foodborne
You
illnesses.
know,
It's all metabolic dysfunction. That's what it is.
yeah, the thing is also like with acne, people, I don't know where this conception came from. Like, there's so much evidence to back up the fact that acne is a result of a, poor gut skin access and like a very damaged gut microbiome.
Mhm.
But everybody just seems to think when you tell them, yo, acne is not genetic. Like, it's not. If your parents had acne, it's also because their gut microbiome was messed up. It is not
Yeah.
genetic. And people just can't wrap their mind around that if they fix their gut, their skin will be good too. It's crazy. It worked for my brother too. My brother took Accutane for less time than me, but even after the Accutane, still had acne,
Mhm.
right? Then I started getting him on like a lot of probiotics, right? A lot of yogurt, raw kefir, stuff like that. Gone.
Yeah.
Skin cleared.
Yeah.
Also I got him off Cedo, skin cleared. So it's inflammation and it's gut health. And people don't notice that. Also with the amount of alcohol on college campuses, which is also terrible for your gut, it's a no-brainer that they're gonna just look sickly and have, bad skin.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, thinking
Yeah.
otherwise is abdication of the responsibility to change your health.
Right. Right.
You're just neglecting that responsibility. No, this is the reason why. It's nothing that I'm
Yeah,
doing.
for lack of better word, it's
It's
cope. Yeah, it's really
it's cope.
cope.
Exactly.
hmm
Yeah. Yeah. And raw milk is delicious, dude. How could you
Yeah,
put
this
the
stuff
bottle
tastes
down?
great.
Yeah, exactly.
This is raw goat's milk because right now I don't know if you've heard, but Raw Farm got like one batch. I'm talking one batch got contaminated. Which is crazy because again I've been doing this for a year and a half, drinking raw milk for a year and a half. Not once has anything been contaminated. But they got contaminated and then they had to cease production, and they're still ceasing it for like the next couple weeks.
Really.
But yeah, you can't really get it in stores right now. Like it's everything is just not on shelf. So the only thing I can put my hands on is raw goat's milk. But this stuff is expensive. It tastes good and it's probably better than raw cow's milk. But yeah, it's definitely not cost effective. I hope that they fix those issues soon because I need my gallons back.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So, you're also on a farm. You must get raw milk, some months of the year.
Not commonly, like a
Oh.
couple times a year, because the thing is we have like I think like 8 or 9 goats,
Mhm.
but only one of them is male. So the thing is that, and we didn't, take his balls off or anything, but he, impregnates them, and it takes for goats. I'm pretty sure if I'm not wrong, again, it's like 7 or 8 months, for goats to, give birth, right? So only towards the end of the pregnancy for the goats they start producing the milk,
Right.
and when they're not, then they're not. Also, the thing is that you also have to make sure that the babies are getting enough milk, and for me it's fine, for me it's enough milk, but for the rest of the family it probably won't be enough if we're not milking them all the time and getting the most out of it. But yeah, it's a process and we're not set up for dairy, so it would all be by hand, and with like you need like 3 people to hold the goat down or whatever. You
Yeah.
get my point.
Super tedious process.
Yeah, very.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's easier to just buy it, luckily, because in California you can just get out the store at Sprouts, so it's a good thing.
That's pretty nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got a raw milk plug. I've got some people that I've asked. Unfortunately, I cannot I cannot give away the plug. It'd be too
Yeah,
that's
yeah, don't
dangerous.
do that.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, not
dangerous.
just is it dangerous, but yeah, you don't want it getting oversaturated. Like
Yeah, exactly
sometimes
that
I'll
too.
go and
I don't have the right
yeah,
to do that.
sometimes I'll go to Sprouts and the raw milk will be out in general just because more people are drinking it. But like they
Yeah.
open more rows for it, which is good because the more people are drinking it, the better.
Hmm.
But yeah, I don't, it sucks having to go to 2 different grocery stores to look. But yeah, hopefully it'll be everywhere soon. I hope, even in Canada.
Yeah. All right, bro. Do you think you got your message out there? Is there anything else you want to tell the audience? I mean, like looking back on it, we've had a great conversation. We could roll
Yeah,
if you
100%.
want. If you've got any other points you wanted to talk about.
No, no, I think I'm good. I just want to say thank you for having me on. Like, it was honestly a great experience. It was really fun. Um,
You're welcome.
and yeah, bro, just thank you so much. It was a great experience. I also have to get to cooking right now, but yeah, thank you so much. And when this uploads, where do you think it'll be? Like on YouTube, on Spotify?
So we'll give you a pretty raw clip
Mm-hmm.
that you can do whatever you want with, as long
Mm-hmm.
as if you're posting it on Instagram, you collaborate with me. If it's cut up, if it's a longer form,
Mm-hmm.
just collaborate with my account, and then
100%.
you're good to do whatever you
Yeah,
want. Um,
amazing.
Now some of the guys have been taking a picture of this screen that you're seeing right here, putting it on their
Mm-hmm.
story. I don't know if you want to do that too,
Yeah, good idea. Quick.
or you're on your phone right now too, so that might be difficult.
Yeah, I can just do a little screenshot.
There you go.
Perfect.
Sweet.
All right. But yeah, bro, thank you so much for having me on. Like, I really, really appreciate it. And it was great talking to you, bro.
Yeah, you too. It was a pleasure to meet you.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah, thank you. It was a pleasure to meet you as well, my friend. And yeah, we'll keep in touch and
for
just
sure.
let me know when you guys finish editing it. I want to see it. I'll also just show it to my friends, my family,
Yeah,
share it on my account. And yeah, I'll watch it back. I want to clip it up. Like, you gave me a good idea. Clip it up. You can post it like that also.
yeah, man, dude. That's a we're filming for an hour. You got an hour's worth of content. There you go.
Thank you so much, bro. Thank you so much for having me on. Thank you for taking your time, bro. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. You should get it in maybe a couple days, a week max.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Hmm.
All right.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, John. You have a
You're
good one, my
welcome.
friend.
You too. Take care.
Thank you, bro. We'll keep in touch. Bye bye.
Absolutely.